Okay, so we're back. That's what happens with technology.
So the Smithfield, what we got a letter about that,
Right.
right? I'm sure you same thing in your right.
Yep.
They bought up all the farms. They bought up all the little farmers, merged them all into one big farm, and that's why it's such a drastic impact.
Mm-hmm. Well, this also teaches us another thing. Number one, that COVID, if you own a pizzeria, you're going to make some money because it's delivery. You're already set up for it. Number two, I think it also set it up to these regional or mass feedings between our cattle and our pork and our chicken. I think we need to go back into the local resourced and then buying from the local butcher, buying from the local markets. I think that would be beneficial when there is a pandemic, because I hope to God there's never going to be one in our lifetime again, but chances are probably not.
Well, let's get through this first one first.
Yeah, I agree with you. So one of Millie, who is one of our ACF members, she said it's best to wear masks for now. People are a little sensitive and shaky about the issue. It will help your customers contradict to the employees or connect to your employees. And this will help lead with other stresses for you, and you don't lose workers. Less stress about the issues. I still think it's one of those, and we talked about it. Are they wearing the right masks? Is it an N95 mask or is it just a cloth?
It's just cloth.
Right.
It's that the CDC is suggesting is cloth.
Right.
And they're also suggesting that you don't wear it for a certain number of hours, because if you do, that's not the way it's meant to be. That it's meant to go to Publix, cover your mouth so you don't get around, and then get back in your car, take it off, and go home. That cover it when you're in public. But if you're at the point where you want to come out to a restaurant and you're going to sit 6 feet away from another table of strangers and none of you are wearing masks, you must feel more comfortable being out in public.
Well, I think it's like it goes back to what your other table said. It's a normalcy or some sense.
And you know what? If I thought, you're never going to make everybody happy.
No.
And the hardest thing I've had to deal with this week, because I'm a people pleaser. And I knew that the situation would come. I didn't know who it would be or how it would present itself. And it was that gentleman Friday night. And then I knew that by telling my story, I was saying what we're doing. And I knew that would have its implications. And, if the CDC were to issue something that says, all restaurants wear masks, get the N95 masks and make sure you're wearing masks, real masks that are going to protect people, right?
Right.
I wouldn't want to have a restaurant anymore, because that level of fear that is running through at that level of caution, it's not about the feeding and the drinking and the having fun anymore. It becomes more fear-based. And I would just want to change doing how we do it. I wouldn't want to have to live in a world and own a restaurant and have to be constantly picking who you want to make happy.
Well, and that's the thing too about the restaurant industry. It's, the old saying goes, you can please half the people half the time, not, all the time.
Right.
You mentioned that you can go to your market or sit at a table in the restaurant and order online. What app do you have to do that?
So the POS system that we used, we recently upgraded the end of last year to Revel, and it is directly connected to our POS system. So the link that I would send, they go online and then a ticket prints directly to the kitchen.
Only from inside the restaurant, or they can do it from their house?
Order from home.
Okay.
You could order from home, set up a pickup time, and do curbside come and pick it up. And then ordering from their table, we just have to identify which table they're at. And
they do that? They tell you, I'm going to order, or how does that work?
Chosen to do that from inside. Everyone has chosen to operate with a server. But for the extra cautious people, I wanted to offer that as an option.
Right, and I think that's a great option too. And there's another option that when you pay online, like the delivery services or Chow Now or any of those, that doesn't hamper for you as a business person. That doesn't hamper your overall because it's through your POS system.
Correct.
So
Yeah, there's no credit card fees. And they can, the thing is it limits those how many interactions, right? We have the credit card, give you the check, take the credit card, bring the check presenter back, you sign the credit card, then I'm taking the check back and I'm putting it in a thing. It eliminates the entire paper trail. It eliminates all those touches. But again, it's the opposite of what we're all about, because we're all about customer service. We're about engaging with our customers. I mean, on a Friday night, when I walk around Salute and look at the people that are there, they're our Salute family. They're our friends, except for that weekend.
Well, I don't think he'll be back.
He was there before, and I don't think he'll ever come back.
No, and I don't think he will either, because I think he knows he was wrong, and that's the problem.
Does not believe he was wrong at all. He believes he stands on a mountain high.
Most people like that probably do.
Right.
Getting to where we were, do you ever think the restaurant industry will get back to where we were?
I don't know. I think there will definitely be some element of change that will never go back. I don't know exactly what that is or what it's going to look like, but I feel that there will be some permanent changes from this. I think that the way that customers view restaurants is now going to be impacted politically, unfortunately, which is really, really sad. And I don't know when wearing a mask became political, and I don't like to talk about politics, but wow, it's kind of scary, that now that is becoming an identifying feature of a restaurant who, no matter what you do, you've never taken a stand on anything. But because we have a more lax policy on our masks, we're, they're identifying you and putting you into categories. And I don't like that. And I don't know if that'll ever change. I don't, one of the things from back to the beginning of our conversation, when you talk about marketing and branding and concept development, and you talk about like how much time and energy and love and thought was put into developing our concept and pleasing the most number of people possible, right? I want to make the most number of people happy. When you go through something like this and you're forced to pick those smaller roads, it's just, I don't know how you come back fully. For me, for Salute, we have multiple revenue streams. We continue to have them, and we're going to be exploring more the throwing parties at people's houses. We'll come in and throw a party at your house. We bring the whole thing, come to you, because not everybody's going to feel comfortable coming out. Right. Even my mom hasn't really left her house in 9 weeks, almost 10 weeks. She has not left because she's the target market of this disease. I don't want her to leave.
Right.
Understand caution. Stay home until there's a cure or something.
Right, or a vaccine or whatever. And I don't talk politics anyways, because there's just too many douchebags out there that want to throw blame at others, but not take the blame. The bottom line is, you mentioned before you lost a lot of your staff. Where'd they go? Was it because they were making too much money on unemployment, or was it they're afraid? What was that?
I think overall, this epidemic has really made people a little bit lazier. Everybody's gotten comfortable hanging out on the couch all day at home and not doing much. And, I can't even get my kids to empty the dishwasher. But I think some of it is, I'd rather, ride this out. I'm getting checks for $600 a week and I don't have to do anything. How long is that going to last? I think other people kind of, maybe quarantine, I think, meant something different to everybody, and everybody had to go through some sort of reflection. Everybody's forced to some degree. And some of our staff decided that, maybe they had little kids and didn't want to come back to work. They were fearful of their children. Somebody else has immune compromised situation and he's apprehensive. My daughter just woke up. He's apprehensive to, I know.
Nice. Nice.
He's apprehensive to come back to work. Another one's hanging out with their mom and dad and doesn't really feel like coming back to work right now. And, you know, there's a variety of different reasons, but people have to make tough decisions for themselves. So we're going to just look to hire new staff. We're very fortunate that some of the people that work for us today have been with us since the day we opened. And we're going on 5 years right now. It'll be 5 years in July. And we've had such a tremendous cultivation of our people that it's sad to see some of them leave. You know, we lost one of our people, one of our bartenders has been with us since the beginning. But it's just, she wasn't comfortable coming back to work, and she's got little kids, and it's different. The world's a little bit different now.
Right. And do you think being in the position, I know prior to COVID-19, it was a little bit more difficult to be, let's say, picky to get a new employee, but do you think now it's an employer's market than an employee's market coming out of this?
It's going to be an employer's market for a little bit, because I think that not everybody is going to make it. I mean, even, you know, you look at South Florida and where we're at right now, we're coming into off season. And even though we as Salute chose our location, built a loyal base of regular customers, our sales from, like, if you take December and you take June, they're almost half. So to go into our slowest time of year, which may be different, you know, there's different predictions, and I've had many conversations. I think we're going to have a stronger local tourism market this summer. I think that, you know, road trips are going to become pretty standard around the state of Florida. We're good at that to begin with. I don't think everybody's going to be jumping on planes and flying to New York for the most part for a little while. So I think, you know, it is going to be an employer's market, because there are going to be places that aren't going to make it. And unfortunately, here in South Florida, coming into off season is going to make it even more challenging. I already had one restaurant reach out to me, say, do you know anybody that wants to buy? Because I'm not going to make it. And I don't think it's going to, I think there's going to be more. And I think that, you know, the restaurants coming together is going to make us stronger. And I've been working with a couple of the other restaurant owners, trying to put together some sort of association to get us to even become, you know, buying groups and things like that together, where, you know, a couple small businesses together can be stronger than, you know, than every one of us alone.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things as a restaurant consultant that I do, is we talk about, if you get up to the, I love the people that go, well, I want to have my logo on my bags, or I want to have my logo on my disposable cup. I'm like, that's great, but you know what they're going to do when they get done with that cup? They're going to throw it away. And there's a $10,000 a 10,000 piece minimum order. So why would you want to do that to yourself? You know, I do a lot of marketing too. I'm not to your extent. I always tell them, just get a sticker. Who cares?
Too, but I use stamps.
Right.
I use Salute Market.
Right. A stamp is another great one, but it's stupid to think that, and I think a lot of times these people that own restaurants that are not doing well probably should not have been in the business in the first place. I'm sorry to say that. Here's
the thing, though, you know, and we laugh about it, but Salute, the way that we did it, if I had another chef and wine lover come together, it's the platform for marketing that can help make any business successful. And I used to do that before I owned my own restaurant. I would be a consultant, and I helped other restaurants grow and develop, and other clients grow and develop their brands. And, you know, it comes down to, from the moment somebody calls and how they answer that phone, all the way through to saying goodbye, thank you, and have a great night. Like, everything that happens in between is marketing. So, I mean, I'm willing to help anybody that needs help. I've always been that way. If there's a restaurant out there that's going, hey, I really need help, and how would you market my restaurant? I will help them. Like, I will sit with them, we'll have lunch, and I'll talk through it and see if there's any way I can help them.
Do you think it's kind of stupid, though, that when a restaurant starts to have issues, the first thing they throw away from the budget is the marketing?
That's because they can't. strategic marketing is different than just marketing. And how I used to approach my clients was, you have people calling you every day. Take out this ad here, run this on social media, sign up for Yelp, $200 a month, and you have this. Sign up for this, and you have that. And, all of a sudden you're spending, $2,000 every month on nonsense that isn't generating you a return. So my thing would always be like, send me all those calls. I'll field them. I'll figure out which ones are good for you and which ones aren't, because I have a different filter than you do. So people come to me all the time with marketing. Oh, this is so great. It's not going to cost you any money. You just got to give me $5,000 in gift cards, pay this. And I'm like, no, we're good. Thank you. I'm careful with our dollars. I don't do as much marketing as I should with regard to our budget, because I could spend a little more money on marketing, but I'm just so careful with it and pay attention to it so closely. It's not always what you think into. So I would sit down with any restaurant and be like, where are you spending your money? Okay, go spend it here. And I'm not saying I do it right, but it's a different approach.
Do you do any kind of like DoorDash, Grubhub, Postmates, or Uber Eats?
We do delivery dudes, and other than that, I don't do delivery service. I will deliver an order $100 or more. I'll figure it out and get it to somebody's house. We use delivery dudes, but they've worked with us as a small business to keep our percentage that we pay them low. Okay, when we look at all the other ones, they want to take 30%. 25 is the lowest anybody else will go. That's our whole profit in a restaurant. That's it. I'm giving you my profit to then send out a subpar product, okay? Because I don't know how long it's going to be in your car, and I order delivery from myself, and it sucks sometimes. So subpar product, zero profit, but it keeps my staff busy. Like, I'm not a fan of it.
Right. Do you see that because of the competition now, because of COVID, would you think that Uber, Grubhub, and all the others might lower those?
They did. Uber called last week, and they took it from 30% to 25%.
Amazingly, right? Just last week. Only last week.
Yep. They sent me an email last week, and the way they sent the email was like discounted pricing, da-da-da. So I had my assistant look it up and talk to them and whatever. And when they sent back what the details were, I was like, no, we're good. I'd rather not.
Well, especially because if beef is having an issue, pork is having an issue, chicken is having an issue, and these prices are going up because obviously there's going to be, we can't as farmers, and that was another thing we were talking about last 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when they were taking the products and molding them back into the ground. We can't shut that off. It's not an assembly line. We just can't flip a switch and go home and then we'll come back 2 weeks later and turn it back on and go again. There's a growth pattern that we have to worry about.
Right.
The overall, if your costs are going to increase for you as the owner of the restaurant, your fixed costs are going to pretty much stay the same. Your variable costs are going to be the ones that are going to fluctuate, especially your labor. But if you can only go to 50% capacity, how are you going to, like you talked about, how are you generating revenue to pay bills?
Again, for us, we're fortunate because my total occupancy is like 135. We have 135 seats, half inside, half outside. So if we can add extra seats outside because the city's gotten very, very cooperative with allowing us those types of things. I could put tables all in my parking lot if I wanted to. I'm going to maybe put some this weekend along PGA Boulevard right on the sidewalk. So we're fortunate to have that patio, but, normally on a Friday night, we have a musician come in and my bar room's packed with 25 to 30 people all singing and hanging out with Johnny the Piano Man. Well, we tried to do it on the patio this weekend and it poured, so we had to cancel. So now things that I used to be able to do to draw people in, I can't do anymore. So the way my marketing mind works is how do I get creative and do more things the way that our customers want them now? So that's why I keep saying I'm going to take it and bring it to your house, I'll bring Johnny to anybody's house and throw a party in anybody's backyard. It doesn't have to be at Salute. And I don't think we're going to want 30 people screaming and dancing and singing and breathing and spitting all over each other for a while.
Right.
And I'm not comfortable with that. So I have to continue to reinvent.
Do you foresee claims, not your restaurant, I'm not saying this, but do you foresee people coming up that they got COVID because they went to XYZ restaurant?
So okay. So one of the things on the thread with Facebook in that situation was, and we're going to be reaching out to my insurance agent. I was supposed to do it yesterday. I'm going to do it today, because if insurance companies, I saw something.
That was bacon bits.
With the COVID tracing that's available, right? Where my understanding, and I'm no doctor, but this is what I've been told, that they trace it back to where you get it from, right? If that's the case, and if the insurance companies are going to start opting out of covering these types of things, and if a customer is going to be able to sue me because of whatever reason, like, that's going to become a very dangerous rocky road.
And not just you, that's most restaurants, if they can do that.
If they're going to be able to sue any restaurant for any reason related to COVID, that's going to change. I mean, God, if I could be accused of not doing something right and I gave it to somebody because we didn't all have masks on for 3 days, you know what I mean? Like, I think that that's a slippery slope, and we're going to be looking into that, because if the liability is going to be there, that's a whole different ballgame.
Do you think one of the things that you could do to protect yourself maybe from that is, like, you do temperature checks 10 o'clock and maybe 4 o'clock with your line checks? Do you check your employees, like, with an infrared thermometer?
We do not. We have informed our employees that they are not to come to work if they are sick or they have a fever. I mean, and right now I have like 12 employees. So most of us have been together, like the core 6 of us have been together this entire time. And I will tell you that we are going to be getting tested for the antibodies, because like many people in South Florida, and we waited for the whole first string to go through, but local doctor's office is going to be doing it. I'm going to get the blood work Friday, because there was December, January, most of my staff went through something that was so awful, and they were so sick, and it was our customers, and it was our staff, and it was like everybody got sick, but it was December, January. So now that the antibody testing is more readily available, and insurance companies are paying for the testing, because it's important, obviously, for everybody to know, we are going to proceed with the antibody testing. And, I thought about getting the thermometer. If somebody, I mean, I can get one. They're like $200. I'll add it to the list. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, I'm just thinking, I have one because being with barbecue, you want to see what the temp is and on the outside. And I know different vendors and purveyors are doing that.
Customers.
You can do it. I mean, well, it would be really nice, wouldn't it? And it would be really funny if this past Friday night you did that to that customer and be like, dude, you have 101 fever. What are you doing out? That would have been great. That would have been the end of the story. But I think, there are going to be these things in the restaurant industry because there's more laws on the books for restaurant people because we can actually affect more people, right? And there's the law, and I think this is always funny. I always claim this too. There's a law in the book on how we sneeze. And I've taught my daughter, it's in here and away from somebody. Because we affect more people. We can kill more people from doing stupid things. Let's be honest. We all make that. At the end of the day, it's not brain surgery, but yeah, at the end of the day, we can get some people sick. Do you think the change of events or the turn of events through COVID-19, do you think we've learned our lesson as far as our natural resources and what vendors are doing or purveyors?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So think about this. We have the meat shortage and the pork shortage. We had outs on toilet paper and Perel, and the only people that are really making money is Georgia Pacific and the Koch brothers. But more importantly, what about the farmers and all the millions of pounds of green beans and the tomatoes that were, back as a restaurateur? And let's take the human aspect out of it. As a restaurateur, business person, that's a lot of waste, and that's what we're known for. What have we learned from COVID-19? Like you said, we're going to start a support group that we might start a conglomerate of restaurants that are buying power. What about something about food waste?
I don't know. I don't like we err on the side of caution with our normal philosophy. So I'm always of the opinion I would rather run out of something than waste it. So on a Saturday night, we will run out of our specials if they were extremely popular because I don't want to have to waste. When you talk about it on a much larger level, I don't know the impact of how much is being wasted or what could be done with it. But I would have to, think that those are challenges for that sector of the industry that I mean, honestly, my brain's full. I don't even think I could comprehend how much is being wasted. And I mean, I think of donating. I think of all the people that are so hungry. I talked to a friend of mine that did a food drive in Abacoa where people were driving through to get 10 boxes of raisins, 12 carrots, and 2 or 3 other items. So wherever that food is that is not being used, I think that forces need to unite to get it to the people that are hungry because there's plenty of them, And what is the restaurant in New York? I can't think of the name of it. 11 Madison?
Mm-hmm. They're a soup kitchen now.
Yeah, exactly. And I understand that. I think it was brilliant. I think it was like, you know what? Let's take whatever we can get and feed as many people as possible right now.
Well, and that's the same philosophy that Rodney Mayo had over at Subculture Group. I mean, when it first happened, he let go 650 people because he had more than 500, and then he converted Howley's to being the soup kitchen, and then it just grew exponentially. And that's when he started Triple H. I don't know if you know the Hospitality Helping Hands that he started Triple H. And basically, what that is that he raised $100,000, and then with his own money matched the $100,000. So he was able to open up Kapow, Hullabaloo, Howley's. I want to say Dublin or down in Boca, but he opened different restaurants that were basically only for restaurant people, service industry, the people that were hit the hardest. Obviously, as you know, most of our line cooks, most of our servers, most of our busboys, most of our hostesses, the bartenders, they pretty much don't know the savings aspect of it per se, but they live on the tips. They're definitely not living on a paycheck. So it was really, really great to see that not only he, but there were other restaurant groups that were doing stuff. I know Russell down in Boca was doing stuff with its own market and going to Mecca Farms and selling it down in the Boca region. But the flip side of this is coming out of this COVID. What are your thoughts on that? Like, what do you see as your restaurant?
Yeah, I keep saying that the way I have to look at it is 1 week from today, 30 days from today, 60 days from today, and, December. We look at December where, December's holiday parties. That's where we make, our holiday entertaining holiday parties. And I say, I booked one in December. But normally we'd be booking all these parties right now for October, November, December. So I think if I look 6 months down the road, we're still going to be in a tough spot. I don't think that 6 months from now, we're going to be back to normal. No chance. There's no chance. Will it be more normal? Yes. Do I think that as a restaurant, it's more important to control our controllables? Absolutely. Like there's a list of things you can control and a list that you can't. And where, you might be putting 50% cost items to, that you're not making a ton of money on. You put them out there because the whole overall picture makes sense and your food cost gets down to 30 overall. Well, you can't waste the way that you did because you just have to pay so much more attention to it. You got to control your controllables and just figure out ways to make your customers happy.
Do you think that you're going to generate other revenues besides takeout, catering, going to people's houses?
Well, I mean, right now our revenues are the restaurant, obviously, the bar, the retail wine sales that, we have our wine customers and they're like, I need 6 bottles. I'm out. I need 12 bottles. I'm out.
In 3 days.
Right. Definitely. You know, we went from our high-end cabs we stopped stocking for the last couple months, and we went into that like $20, $30, $40 price point because people that were normally, you know, drinking 4 bottles of wine a week are now drinking 12 bottles of wine a week in their house, you know? So the offsite catering and party planning is our, you know, that's where we're going to focus on as we come into this summer and fall, is coming into people's houses and offsite locations, and just expanding that, because the people that love us are going to keep supporting us,
Right.
you know, for the part.
Do you think you're going to have protocols that you could write down to give to a guest that wants to do a party? Like Chef Victor, who was on recently too, he's out in South Dakota. It's funny, somebody posted that South Dakota has the lowest COVID outbreak, and I'm like, yeah, because there's only 3 people that live there. He mentioned that creating a demand is impossible, especially in the time and probably moving forward. Is what he's stipulating. There's got to be this fine balance because everybody's been home, like you said, your mom, 9 weeks, 10 weeks. I've been home since the 17th of March, really not going out anywhere. I kind of look at the limitations they put on your occupancy. I look and add in the people behind the counter, your staff, because even though it's not, how does the CDC know that that person doesn't have it anyways? And it should be part of that number?
The numbers, what do the numbers mean? The numbers mean, I mean, they give you some general idea of things, but that's about it. I mean, unless you went to school and learned how to study statistics and learned how to question variables and learned how to, you know, unless you did that, you can look at numbers and interpret them however you want.
Well, I think the biggest thing too is, and I talk about this with my neighbors because they were all like, well, they should open up restaurants. I'm like, that's great. But 25% occupancy is not going to develop the revenue that they're going to lose from a 100-seat restaurant. That means they can only have 25 people sit in a restaurant. And on top of that, if we go out and we live in different homes, we technically should be 6 feet apart, not at a table together, according to what the CDC says.
You're right.
And we don't know how to police that.
But again, like...
And we shouldn't be the police.
We should not. And that was the one thing that made it really, really... On Thursday night last week was the first time we had live music on the patio. And the tables were 6 feet apart. And at one point in time, I had to get on the microphone because I was starting to have anxiety. And I'm like, wait, they're too close. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I made Mike stop playing. We stopped his live stream. And I was like, listen, I need you all to stay at your tables and go back there. You cannot be at the bar. You can't, if you're going to be here, I spray painted lines by the bar. And I said, you must wait here for your drinks. I said, because if you don't follow the rules now, we're going to go right back into lockdown. Like, and then I feel bad because I'm the one going, hey, come support us, come support Salute, woohoo. And then I'm like, wait, you can't do this and you can't do that. And then I got to get mad at somebody because they're not following the rules. And then they're going to be like, oh, well, screw you. I'm not coming back. You know?
Yeah.
It's a really, like, I feel tortured somewhat these last couple of weeks trying to make all these decisions and keep going, you know?
Well, and the girls from to the pizza shop.
Pizza Girls.
Yeah, Pizza Girls, thank you. They were mentioned that they don't want to open up because they don't really know what's going on and which way. And I know that's going to be the kicker for most people in the industry right now is 50% viable for me to open, number one. And number two, can I keep my staff safe? Right.
Like we have a June like we normally have, right?
Mm-hmm.
It rains every day. Between this time and that time, every day it rains, and sometimes it rains all day. They're predicting a stronger than normal hurricane season. Fantastic.
Yes.
So if we look at it that way, and if it rains, I don't get a patio. I have very limited covered patio seating. So we've been looking into, are we going to spend money on umbrellas? Are we going to spend money on rain shades? What are we going to do so that we can maximize the patio? And, you know, if we do have a June like that and we stay at a 50% capacity, it's going to be significantly difficult to continue to climb the uphill battle.
Did you limit your menu or did you keep the same menu?
We've been limiting the menu. We had to go to Listen, guys, like tuna poke is one of our staples. I had to take it off the menu. Cost is too high. The product needs to be super fresh, like daily, once, you know what I mean? And I'm just not going to mess around with that. Our burgers, we can't get the burger meat. The good burger meat that we want, that we've used for years, that people know and love, I can't get it. Burgers off the menu. Right now, one of the things that I told the chefs is when we develop our specials, it needs to be things that can travel home and heat up at home well. You know, certain things you take home and you put that in your microwave, it's not going to taste good. You know, so we had to revisit some of those things to make sure that the quality that people are taking home, and if they are reheating it, is going to be there. Because I don't want them.
There's a really good business right there. You just gave me a great business idea. Do a blog on what to-go products are the best.
What and how to order to-go food, I'll be your expert. I'm all over it.
And what, like the viability. Like, you know, I was recently working on developing a Korean fried chicken. It's dope. I love it. But I also want to figure out how well can it travel and what apparatus will travel well in. So I was talking to one of my friends that works for Pactiv. He's like, oh, I got a whole bunch of this stuff. I'll send them to you. So he's like, you know, it'd be a great idea for someone to come up with a blog. And I'm like, yeah, that would be really good, because that way you know this is the best to go with this to match up, because we speak differently than our vendors.
Sure.
And your chef will know this as well. Like your chef will say to your salesperson, I need an ice cream scoop, you know, scooping ice cream. Well, what the guy sends them is an ice cube scoop for the ice machine. You're like, you know, idiot. And they're like, you know, chef, it's called a disher. And I'm like,
right. Sure.
Can you people just talk the same lingo that we do? Because
sure.
we do actually have our own special kind of talk. And here's a question I didn't ask you, and I apologize for this. You moved down, you've been in the industry, you have a degree in marketing, and then you decided to go literally lose your mind and open up a restaurant in 2015. What caused you to even think, let's open up a restaurant?
Okay. I mean, did you want the raw, honest answer?
Hell yeah. I mean, this is what we do. Yeah. The raw answer.
The real answer is we thought we were going to be a liquor store, deli, fast casual market. We thought we were going to be more to-go business. And coming out of, you know, being involved in the restaurant industry for so many years, we went into this thinking we're going to sell liquor, we're going to sell wine, we're going to sell sandwiches, we're going to sell catering, we're going to sell, you know, fast casual fare. We had 5 little tables and 10 chairs inside when we opened. And immediately it was listening to the customers and them saying, you need more tables, you need more chairs, you need more hot food. So then once we did all those things, I sat down with a focus group with some of our original customers. I invited 6 women one night and I said, why don't you come here more often? What am I missing? And they said, if you want us to come for dinner, antipasto platters and small plates are great, but you need to have entrees. I said, okay, that's fair. You know, when we looked at spaces that were available in Palm Beach County and North County, our space that we ended up selecting that happened to have a bar already outside, we were like, well, if we're going to have a bar outside, might as well serve drinks, right? We have alcohol, we have a bar, we have the liquor license, and it just kept evolving, you know, into the more food, more hot food, and then all of a sudden we're a full-blown restaurant. And I love the customers so much, I love what we do so much, that it's just a matter of having the right staff and having that right management team. And, you know, you got to love what you do. You got to love what you do. And I'm so passionate about food and drinks and customer service. And you got to love it. So whether it's the restaurant business or whether it's the catering business, as long as you know.
Do you want to emulate yourself more so than another? Like, do you look at a certain business now, whether it be the restaurant industry or non-business restaurant industry, that you say, this is what we need to emulate?
I think I take inspiration from other brands in how they communicate with their customers or what their corporate culture is. You know, like one of the things my husband's the customer service side of things. And, you know, Zappos and their, you know, he read the book and their whole concept of holacracy in how your teams have to operate independently of the owner. My kitchen team is so on point. They all work well together. We didn't lose one person in the kitchen. Okay. His team came back to him and they are ready. On the front of house side of that are, the managers. They've been JP's been with us since day one. He's moved up from every single position in there, and his team looks up to him. So we emulate, that holacracy environment of your teams and managing themselves, that my husband really took from Zappos.
Which is key too.
Absolutely.
So Victor went on and actually added to it. He said, doing fun stuff with cheap stuff is the new norm.
Yep, absolutely. 100%. At Tuna Poke, done. We had to do Passover for a group, and we did a special dinner for Benjamin's school. So, you look at the price point of a brisket versus the price point of even short rib. Your brisket, we cooked like 200 pounds of brisket one day. But it's just a matter of migrating a little bit of those price points so that you could keep that margin, the controllable.
Well, and it's also working along with your vendors to find out what cuts of beef that could enhance the overall. Brisket's no longer cheap anymore. I mean, I just went to Costco and a prime brisket was $4.99, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's prime. It weighs 20 something pounds. It was $90+ to get that. And you look at 200 pounds, exponentially that goes up. And short rib's always been in one of those things that's been. So do you work along with your vendors to find out what they might have?
Yep. They send punch lists almost every day because it's been changing so often and so much. They're sending us like a daily punch list of here's what's available right now.
What about the seafood? Are you guys doing specials like day boat specials and not going after one particular species of fish or?
Salmon. We're sticking with cod and capers and our fresh salmon from them because we can get it daily, and not knowing how much you're going to go through every day. Again, you look at that 50% occupancy and then you look if it rains. That means my variable goes from being able to have 105 people seated to being able to have 30 people seated.
And that's a huge. What do you think about like these restaurants? And I've just noticed this, that more and more are tacking on a COVID-19 fee.
I understand why. I have not considered it. I mean, I guess if you're a restaurant that is using the surgical masks on a disposable and proper basis, where you are rotating them every whatever the recommended time frame to wear them is, and if you're giving those to your staff and every day they're coming in and each staff member is taking 2 or 3 of those to be within whatever you're supposed to do, and if every staff member is wearing gloves and every staff member is changing those gloves after every interaction with every table, because that's what would have to happen, right? Then I could see where you need to do that because it can get extremely costly. At this point, we have the cloth masks on our servers that one of our servers actually made. We bought some from a local doctor and they're all purple and salute. So, I'm not charging my customers any COVID fees.
Well, I mean, yeah, because those surgical masks, I know that one guy, National Chef Supply, he was doing about $1.50 a mask with a 200-piece order. That's like $300.
Yeah.
And, already, as you talked about, with prices of beef being eroded and 30% going to Uber or 25% or wherever you're going to go, inevitably, your restaurateur can actually be in business for everyone else except themselves.
Yeah. Actually, most of them are, and they don't even realize it. So now, we protect that profit margin as best we can, because if we can't make money doing this, it really becomes futile. Right. Nobody gets rich off of owning one restaurant. But you can make, you make a fair living, you support your family, and you enjoy what you do, and you do good things, you do big things. But that profit margin is definitely small.
And it erodes a lot quicker, especially now.
And that's why, for me, the catering is a variable cost model for growth that includes no additional overhead. And we've already been doing that. So I'm just going to put a little more energy and effort into growing that revenue stream and just kind of redirect and see what happens over the next 30, 60 days. And just kind of see how this continues. I think 30 days from today, we're going to know a lot more. You're going to have a more statistical information analyzed. You're going to have a lot more information regarding respiking. 30 days from today, I'd say by the end of June, July, we'll know a lot more what the future holds, in my opinion.
Well, I hope it holds a lot more benefit to us in the industry, because I mean, this is something I've grown up in for over 30 years, and I thought I was going into a field that was going to be recession proof and never was going to be out of work. I mean, I never in my wildest dreams on March 29th would have been like, oh, I've been furloughed, and it's now, I know today ends with Y. Is it? It's the
Right.
It's 19th of May. Yeah, it's 19th of May. And, you know, we're sitting here wondering what the next phase for the restaurant industry is like. Do you think cuisine will change? Do you feel that you're going to have to, I mean, obviously you do morph, but do you think, or does your chef think that things will change as far as more street food, more tapas, more to go, more?
We're going to continue on the track, like our meetings. Number one, food must travel well. If it does not travel well, then we do not sell it to go. And everything needs to be to go ready right now. Number two is the cost factor. We want lower cost items right now when we don't know, tomorrow, somebody could come out and say, guess what? Forget 50%. The spike went up. You're all shut down again. Do I want to be left with, a week's worth of food in my walk-in? And now I got 60 pounds of beef in my freezer. Like, we have to be cautious and take this step by step.
Do you think another, and I just thought about this, another avenue for you, revenue avenue, would be more of meal prep, so that way you can have, like, I know Tara Abrams and Crazy Uncle Mike's, and sorry for stealing from her, but they do like Monday through Friday, they do like Pop Tuesdays, Taco Tuesdays, and they do, on Monday they order for the week and they know exactly what they're getting. That's another revenue. Have you thought about doing something like that?
So I think that, yes, we have thought about it. However, it's going to take me more time to revisit conceptually how we've been doing things and how we could do that. Because the way that we've always done like our specials has been on a monthly basis. So, and for the longest time, people tried to convince me to do it a different way, but I stayed true to it. And we always did a monthly feature menu. So May was always New England, because that's where my chef is from, and everybody's coming down from up north and whatever. We did lobster rolls and clam chowder, and we do white wines and some, north drinks with the cranberry juice, the Cape Codder and stuff.
Right.
February's always France, Language of Love, and Valentine's Day. March, we did Spain in March. It was one of our most beautiful menus. I was so excited to eat it the whole month, and then we got cut off and we had to cancel. But the paella was on point. So we look at those culinary cuisines, and then we pair wine or drinks with that. So as we go to June is going to be Baja Mexican. So we normally do a tequila tasting. This would be my 4th June of Baja Mexican, or my 3rd. And we always have a tequila tasting. So is there a way for me to package that and sell party packages with tequila tastings? We could, but I don't want to go through that. I don't want to go so far away from my concept that I'm going to have to reinvent myself again. So right now we're in barbecue and bourbon month. We have barbecue ribs. We have that short rib over the mac and cheese. Chef did a blackened shrimp over a potato cake with a corn chowder. That was just killer. So those are our specials that'll run through the end of May. June, we're going to start our new menu. We're going to right now, I'm staying on track with our feature menu and what we do best for our customers, because they like it. And it's taken me a while to get them all on board with it, so I don't want to lose that.
Do a survey next time you have a chance, or a focus group, and ask them if it would be another revenue for you to do meal prep, meaning that they don't get the cooked product, they get a raw product that they can go back and throw in a microwave and heat.
A lot of places started doing that. California Pizza Kitchen does it. There's a lot of places that started doing the meal prep, the raw product, and we did like cold and ready to make it home.
Right.
So like instead of buying the short rib hot, you can buy the short rib and the accompaniments when we had it like with potatoes and gravy and whatever. Right. And then we give you the heating instructions.
Right.
All our non-bread pizzas, we were selling those cold. So then people could buy 5 of them, throw them in their freezer, and pop them in the oven with the heating instructions.
Right.
So cold and ready to make it home is better for us than the meal prep right now. Selling the raw product is a little bit different, and there's other things that need to go with that. Your temping of the food, your portioning of the food. If we're taking 5 pounds of chicken, you have to weigh it. You have to have the proper documentation for it. You have to be certified for weights and measures. Like, that's why we went for the raw product. We're doing, you want 5 pounds of chicken or 10 pounds of chicken? That's how it comes in the case. It's how you're buying it.
Right.
A little more simplistic.
Yeah, I just was wondering because, I have a customer that I deal with, a buddy of mine. He does 39,000 meals a week. And he's meal prep. That's all they do. Yeah. And I guarantee you, that was before COVID. Say again?
That's one hell of a commercial kitchen.
Yeah, it's a factory. It really is a factory. And what they do is they'll test the product to see how long before it breaks down. They do their testing. And then what they do is then they package it's already pretty much done, and all you got to do is it's a microwavable product, and then you throw it in the microwave and heat it back up, that kind of thing. Okay. I was just thinking it was another revenue for you guys to generate.
It is, but I guess we don't go after everything, and that's just one. My kitchen's not set up for that, and I don't have enough prep space to add that as a revenue stream in addition to what we're doing, unless it was done on like maybe a Monday when we're closed.
But your chef needs his time off. Trust me on
that. Exactly.
We become unbearable when we work 7 days.
I know. So they're both getting, but my executive chef and sous chef both got 2 days off in a row this week.
Wow, they're celebrating.
Tuesday? Yep, they were so excited.
And it's funny because I just mentioned the 39,000 meals. Victor, I just want to make sure I let you know that's 39,000 a week he's doing. 39,000 a week, and that was before COVID, so I guarantee it probably amped up big time.
You could have doubled that.
Probably very easily, especially because if they had the resources to do it, when like you said, chicken and beef, and was becoming nearly impossible, like toilet paper, that was something to do. Before we leave, do you have anything you want to add? Because this was actually really fantastic. Again, I appreciate you taking the time out. Anything you want to add?
Thank you. I guess just approach everything with a little bit of love, because everybody, no matter who they are, where they are, what they're going through, like everybody's having a hard time right now and trying to navigate, uncharted waters. Doesn't matter what your industry is. Everybody's navigating uncharted waters. When you go in a restaurant, if it's not what you like, tell the owner. Tell the manager, don't go on social media bashing places, because it's just, we worked so hard and we built slow and steady. And my husband used to be like, how come we're not busier? How come we're not busier? And I said, well, we got to have $5,000 nights before we have $10,000 nights, honey. And I want to build the reputation the right way. I don't want 1,000 people coming in here and all throwing bad negative reviews out there. We've been so protective of our reputation. And I know other restaurants, I know how important it is. And if everybody approaches restaurants with a little bit of love, then everything's going to be fine. Not everybody's going to be happy ever, but just a little bit of love.
I think not only love, I think patience is another huge key terminology. And I've always said this in every interview, is that a restaurant is the soul of the community. The chef is definitely the soul of the restaurant. And I think that extends to you. I want to let you know that Victor's actually chimed back in, and he said he wants me to let you know that you are a rock star and you're amazing. Thank you for being you and for being transparent. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being human. Thank you for being a cook. So, that's something that we're talking about. You can touch people in a way. And I think the biggest thing, I think whoever watches this, is your mindset, your mentality is different from a chef, a cook, a restaurant owner, because you actually set yourself up for more success, or key to success, because you're hitting that major button of social media and marketing. And I think that's what they should really take away. And if anybody wants to get a hold of Michelle, because she's not busy at all,
whatever, I'm always willing to help people. So if somebody has a restaurant or a business and they're struggling right now and they just want to have a conversation with somebody, like, you know where to find me. PGA Boulevard, I'm typically always there, or they know how to reach me.
you can reach out to me and I'll give you her credentials, and that way she can get in touch with you. So not a problem. Comment down below, comment down later, DM me or whatever. But you right there, you can go to Palm Beach Gardens, not Palm Beach Lake, Palm Beach Gardens. That's way up north a little bit from me, about 20 minutes. It's a great area. It's beautiful up there. It's near the Honda Classic. And you'll have a really good time if you go there. Just don't fight with her about the masks, all right? Don't be a schmuck. Michelle, thank you so much. You have enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. You have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you guys.